In this video, we'll try to understand how to derive an equation in case of torque required to raise the load in case of design of power screws. So let us start with the derivation part. First, we'll derive the equation for effort required to raise the load. So free body diagram is shown over here, which will show all the active and reactive forces in case of effort required to raise the load along the inclined plane as shown over here. So W is the load which is to be lifted, P is the effort which is required to raise the load, and we have to derive an expression for effort required to raise the load. So W is the load which is to be lifted, then P is the effort which is applied to raise the load, alpha is the angle of inclination, R is the normal reaction which will be perpendicular to this surface of contact, that is this particular surface, and F is the frictional force that is equal to mu R. Now, if this is the angle of inclination alpha, then this is also the angle of inclination, that is alpha, and this angle is also alpha by geometry. Now, this W will have two components. One is perpendicular to the plane, that is W cos alpha. Another will be parallel to the plane, that is W sin alpha. Similarly, force P is also having two components. One is parallel to the plane, that is P cos alpha. Another one is perpendicular to the plane, that is P sin alpha. Now, if this is the direction of the motion, then frictional force will act opposite to the direction of motion. Using this, we have to derive the expression for effort required to raise the load and then the torque required to raise the load. And similarly, we have to write down the expression for torque required to lower the load also. Now we'll apply the conditions of equilibrium over here. So along the plane, we'll consider the x-axis and perpendicular to that will be the y-axis. The first condition that will apply over here is summation of forces in y direction is equal to 0. So R is acting in the upward direction, so it is positive. Then P sin alpha is acting in the downward direction, so it is negative. And W cos alpha, it is also acting in the downward direction, so it is negative. Now transfer both these negative terms, that is minus P sin alpha minus W cos alpha, on the other side they will become positive. So therefore value of R will be equal to P sin alpha plus W cos alpha. Similarly, apply the another condition of equilibrium, that is summation of forces in x direction is equal to 0. Forces towards right, they are considered as positive, whereas forces towards left, they are considered as negative. So we can say that P cos alpha is acting in the positive x direction, so it is positive. Then W sin alpha, it is acting in the negative x direction, and F is equal to mu r, that is also acting in the negative x direction, so that is negative. So we can say that minus mu r, if we transfer on this side, it will become plus mu r, and substitute the value of r. R that we have obtained earlier is P sin alpha plus W cos alpha. Now we can say that. So just write the equation. So P cos alpha minus W sin alpha. If you take so mu into r, and value of r we have already substituted, that is P sin alpha plus W cos alpha. Now if you multiply by this mu inside the bracket, it is mu into P sin alpha plus mu into W cos alpha. Mu will get multiplied to both these particular terms. Now transfer this mu P sin alpha on the left hand side, it will become negative, and transfer this negative term on the other side, it will become positive. Now you can take P common from this both this term on the left hand side, so it is cos alpha minus mu sin alpha. Similarly, W you can take common, so it is mu cos alpha plus sin alpha. Now we can say that P will be equal to, we have to find out the value of P. So this term is in multiplication, will go on the other side in the division. So it is W mu cos alpha plus sin alpha divided by cos alpha minus mu sin alpha. Now we have derived in applied mechanics that coefficient of friction is tan phi, and tan is nothing but sine upon cos, where phi is known as the friction angle. So here it is the screw friction that we are taking into consideration, and the angle related to that is the friction angle phi. Now substitute this value, correct? So we can say that P is equal to W as it is. In place of mu, it is sine upon cos, that is sine phi upon cos phi into cos alpha plus sine alpha divided by cos alpha minus, in place of mu, again we are having sine phi upon cos phi, and this sine alpha as it is. Now this cos phi is the LCM, so cross multiply by this cos phi to this sine alpha. So this sine phi cos alpha, that is the first term, plus cos phi sine alpha whole divided by cos alpha. Similarly, this cos phi is the same in the denominator, so cross multiply to this cos alpha, so this cos phi cos alpha minus sin phi sin alpha divided by cos phi. Now this cos phi will get cancelled out from the numerator as well as from the denominator. So we are left with sin phi cos alpha plus cos phi sin alpha. So that we have written in the numerator. Then cos phi cos alpha minus sin phi sin alpha that we have written in the denominator. Now numerator is the formula of sin alpha plus beta. So here it should be w that is remaining. So w is there already. So here there is a w. So p is equal to w. Now this is the formula for sin sin phi plus alpha, and this denominator is the formula for cos phi plus alpha. Now we know that sin upon cos is tan, so p is equal to w tan phi plus alpha. Now we'll find out the torque required to raise the load. So just now we have derived the expression for the effort required to raise the load. Now torque is equal to force into radius. In this particular case, it will be effort into mean radius. So torque is equal to effort required to raise the load is nothing but it is P that just now we have derived, and radius is mean radius is mean diameter divided by 2, mean screw diameter divided by 2. Now in place of P, we have to substitute W tan phi plus alpha into d by 2 as it is. So this is the torque required to raise the load overcoming the screw friction. Now let T2 is equal to torque required to overcome the collar friction. Now collar surface is nothing but the surface on which the load is resting. So that is the static friction that also we have to take into consideration. And if you remember in theory of machine, we have derived that there are two conditions for that. One is uniform pressure theory. According to that, torque required to overcome the collar friction surface or static friction is 2/3 mu Cw R1 cube minus R2 cube divided by R1 square minus R2 square. Or you can use the uniform wear theory where T2 is 1/2 mu Cw R1 plus R2, where R1 and R2 they are external and internal radius of the collar surface or bearing surface on which the load is resting. So total torque will be the summation of both these torque. First one is T1 plus T2, that is the torque required to overcome the screw friction plus torque required to overcome the static friction or collar friction. So T1 is W tan phi plus alpha into d by 2, and T2, if you consider uniform pressure theory, you can write down the formula for uniform pressure theory, that is 2/3 mu Cw R1 cube minus R2 cube divided by R1 square minus R2 square. Or if you consider uniform wear theory, then instead of this particular formula, you can use 1/2 UCW R1 plus R2. If nothing is mentioned, you can assume any of the theory for the derivation purpose or for solving the problem. Now this torque that we are applying with the help of some mechanical advantage. So that torque is equal to, that is the left hand side. This is the torque which is related to the screw and collar surface. Now this torque we have to obtain by some mechanical advantage. So that we are obtaining using the length of the lever, correct, or lever as well as the radius of the hand wheel. That is using the hand wheel and lever we are having this particular mechanical advantage. So again T will be equal to force into length, correct, or F2 into L or F2 into radius of the hand wheel. If you use hand wheel to operate the screw, then use radius. If you use the length of the lever, then use L. So either you can use F into L, F1 into L, or F2 into R. You can use any suffix, any notation over here. I have used F2 over here. Now similarly, you can write down the torque required to lower the load. Instead of plus sign, here it will be only minus. That is only the difference, otherwise rest of the part will remain the same. So if you consider uniform pressure theory, use this formula. If you consider uniform wear theory, use this formula. So we can say that the torque that we have obtained, correct, by some mechanical advantage is the external force that is applied by the hand, that is F2 into length of the lever, or if it is a hand wheel, then F2 into radius of the hand wheel. So in this way we can find out the total torque required to raise and lower the load in case of design of power screws. Thank you very much for watching.